Welcome to episode 1 of the Right Field Football. Follow us on TRFFootball on Instagram. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button down there at the bottom or the top of your screen. You're joined today with Kasey, Matt. We're going to give you a little review of the Week 6 NFL football season. We just watched the Packers and the Lions game. What did you think about Aaron Rodgers? He does it again.
He does. I mean, a little bit of help from the refs, no doubt, but at the same time, I mean, he's a heck of a quarterback. I mean, he's kind of been average this year. Like, he's been, as far as quarterback percentage goes, he's about 43, which is like right at the middle of the league. Yeah. But 43 out of 100. So he's not the Aaron Rodgers of the past, but he did remind us why he's in the NFL for sure.
He's definitely not the Aaron Rodgers of the past. I wrote a blog earlier in the year saying that he had the most pressure coming to the season out of anybody.
Right.
And you talk about the refs. I actually think I saw one of the refs do a Lambeau leap at the end of the game just to celebrate. You know, they covered the spread that they had.
For sure.
So let's jump back to the Thursday night game. The Giants went into New England, gave them a little battle. And it seemed like once the game got tied up, Tom Brady decided to start playing a little football.
Yeah. It was almost like, all right, man, you warmed up now that we're tied up and 0-0, 14-14. And then they just took off and pretty much just totally annihilated them. So,
but you can definitely see that the Giants are better off with Daniel Jones than they were Eli Manning. Eli Manning seemed to be the Patriots' kryptonite for years.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like Daniel Jones has that same type of ability, I guess you could say. But what hurt him also was Barkley didn't play. There was lots of talk whether he would play. You're the injury guy. Should Barkley come back this coming up week?
Well, I mean, the whole thing is, like with a high ankle sprain, I mean, about 4 to 8 weeks is the typical, return to play for that. Yeah. Especially with non-surgical treatment. So,
but you want him long-term, not just this season.
So, right. So, I mean, like, do you throw your golden boy back out there, like, this quickly? So, the Giants, in my opinion, are not a playoff team this year, so why in the world would you rush back your guy that you use your number 1 pick on? So, I would just kind of say, just kind of see how this next week goes without Barkley, and hopefully they can get a few of their backups healthy again from concussions and things like that. So I wouldn't rush it.
Right. All right, well, let's get to somebody who does seem to be rushing everything he does. Jameis Winston. He couldn't hit the side
5 interceptions,
Okay, 5 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Another one that should have probably been recovered by the defense but didn't.
Right.
The big story of this game is Kyle Allen. He's came in for an injured Cam Newton. Does Cam Newton deserve to get the job back? Kyle Allen's 4-0 now.
Yeah, so, I mean, as far as Cam goes, I mean, he's not looking as good as he was. I mean, he's had 4 shoulder injuries, I mean, and a few shoulder surgeries, so it doesn't matter how how good you are or how athletic you are, which he's a great athlete, but, that was also 4 shoulder injuries ago, so.
Yeah, and, his style of play is totally different than Kyle Allen's. He uses his athletic ability, but it seems like this team is gelling together, and they're just playing better with Kyle Allen than they were Cam Newton.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Cam Newton needs to go over there to JCPenney or Sears and get a scarf advertising commercial or something like that.
There you go.
Let's talk about the Tank for Tua Bowl, which was the Dolphins and the Redskins. There's not really much to talk about. Neither one of these franchises are great.
Yep.
The Dolphins, they're doing a good job of tanking, a little bit too good. Do you think the running back dropped the 2-point conversion on purpose?
For a first-round draft pick, you almost wonder if he did. I mean, I think he did, in all honesty.
Draft pick is what they're going for.
Exactly. So, I think so. I mean, like, if you have the opportunity to get a guy like Tua coming out of number 1 ranked Alabama right now, so, I mean, you can't really blame the guy.
Yeah, I mean, they need a quarterback. They've needed one for years.
Right.
I think this is the year, but we're going to have another 0-16 team, I think. The Dolphins are going to do it. The next 2 games on the slate, or the next 2 teams, the Vikings and Eagles. It seems like every week, I don't know what to make of these guys. One week they're good, one week they're bad. This week, the Vikings offense came alive a little bit. Stephon Diggs finally had a breakout game.
Huge game.
167 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Seems like Kirk Cousins wants to quiet those trade rumors a little bit.
Right.
Do you think this is something that's going to be a flash in the pan, or do you think this is going to be something that continues going this year?
As far as Stephon Diggs goes, or for the Vikings?
Stephon Diggs and then the Vikings overall.
Yeah, so, I mean, as far as Stephon goes, I mean, if you kind of look at last year and the previous years, he's always kind of started off slow, and then the next thing you know, he has one big breakout game, gives him a little bit of confidence. Next thing you know, they start firing to him. And, I mean, especially if you're in a PPR league, I mean, watch out for him because, I mean, even though yards match up, it's great to just get those.
He does get a lot of targets.
Catches. Yeah, for sure.
He's got to pull them in. The Eagles, I like Carson Wentz coming out of North Dakota State. I love the kid. He's had some injuries, but it seems like with this Eagles team, what are they great at? They don't just jump off the page, and they're not a great passing team. They're not a great running team. Their defense is average at best.
Right. Other than about 2 weeks ago, whenever they had that big game, that's about it.
But, I mean, besides that, there's nothing that just jumps off the page with this Eagles team. And, you know, they play the Cowboys next week for the number 1 position in the NFC East, and that'll be an interesting game. Someone who is kind of taking a downfall is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
2-game losing streak
in a row
at Arrowhead. They lose to the Texans, Deshaun Watson. What was the key to that game?
So, I mean, if you go back and you look at the Texans' offensive line, as long as they don't let your quarterback get sacked or at least have 1 sack, they're 7-0 with Deshaun Watson in the backfield. So, I mean, the whole thing is you got to protect your quarterback. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, but at the same time, that's one of the things that you got to do, especially with Deshaun Watson back there.
And I think that's why they went out and made that trade earlier in the year for Laramie Tunsil, and it seems like it's paying off. The problem with the Chiefs, to me, it seems like, is their running game. They don't have one since they lost Kareem Hunt last year. They didn't go out and sign a running back. They kind of kept it in-house. They brought in LaShawn McCoy, but he's a couple years past his prime, you know.
Well, he's also carrying the ball all the way out here with one hand.
Yeah,
so.
and don't even get me started on that. I don't know how he doesn't fumble the ball every single play.
Right.
But that and their run defense, they're just getting shredded apart by the Colts 2 weeks ago, and now the Texans. The ghost of Carlos Hyde came alive for the Texans.
Yep.
And they won them this game.
For sure.
So let's jump into the Saints and the Jaguars.
Okay.
Gardner Minshew Mania, the stash. It seems like the power's kind of fading now.
Yep. Stash is going down.
Does Nick Foles deserve to get the job back? Kind of the same situation as the Panthers. The high-paid quarterback. Does he deserve it when he gets back from injury?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Minshew, I mean, whenever he's been, doing great, and the whole fact that, you just kind of look at the strength of schedule for the rest of the year, if Minshew can kind of keep it going, even though they shut him down this week, with the defense that they have, that they have a pretty good run, at least, like wild card game going on. So, and, talking about quarterbacks, I mean, Big Teddy, he's doing great, man.
The shock of the season to me is Teddy Bridgewater keeping the Saints not only above water, they're top of the NFC right now. I mean, 1 loss, and that was to the Rams, a game that Drew Brees got injured in.
Right.
I think Brees should kind of take his time and not rush back.
I think so. I mean, like with Bridgewater being 4-0 as a starter, and I mean. If you go back in Drew Brees' career, he also had an injury to his throwing shoulder, and now he's got an injury to his throwing hand, which both required surgery. And I actually worked for the company that helped develop the surgery that Drew Brees had on his thumb. It's called an internal brace, and it gives them a little bit more of a cushion to be able to come back and do a little more aggressive rehab. There's a small little tape in there, and few small anchors allow the healing process to kind of be braced, if you will, almost a seatbelt. So
he should kind of take his time to think and not rush back.
Right. I think he should. I think he should continue to do his rehab protocol and be aggressive in that, but maybe not necessarily towards the field. Just kind of with like we said, with him being undefeated, with Teddy being undefeated so far. Why would you break something that's not broke? So.
Yeah, exactly. Something that is broke. This Cleveland Browns team.
Yeah.
Is it the quarterback's fault? Is it the head coach's fault? Is it OBJ's fault? It seems like every week it's somebody's fault.
Right.
What do you make of this? I mean, some people had them as Super Bowl contenders, which I thought was a little outlandish, but I did have them making the playoffs, and now it seems like they might not even do that.
Right. Well, it is the Browns, and I mean, whenever you can't get a consistent coach in there for years and years like other teams have, it's kind of hard to build a winning tradition.
Yeah.
But as far as the fault getting blamed, I mean, I think Baker was more worried about cleaning up the stadium for his national insurance commercial than he was anything else. So
see you guys next week. Party at your house next time.
Yeah, exactly.
That type of thing. But the Seahawks, they were down big at one point.
Yep.
Russell Wilson does
20-6, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Russell Wilson does what Russell Wilson does. Somehow
He's
him
a
and
hard
Pete
man
Carroll
to beat.
find a way to win week in and week out.
Right.
Chris Carson helped him out this game, 120 rushing yards and a touchdown. Pete Carroll, I want to know, why do you not have a bubblegum commercial yet?
Like
you could make plenty of money off that. Just the amount you pack in there. I don't know how you do it.
It's almost like the more that he packs in his mouth, the harder his team plays for him. So
next thing you know, he'll be having a big baseball slog in there.
Exactly.
Another team that's kind of inconsistent, but when they get a lead, they hold on to it. The Ravens, they held on and beat the Bengals. I think they know what they are good at and they know what they're bad at.
Right.
They run the ball, get the lead, and they don't turn the ball over.
It's true.
It was against the Bengals, so I mean you can't give them that much credit. But Lamar Jackson seems to have this team rolling, and I think they're going to pull out and probably win the AFC North, which I think you have to say is one of the worst divisions in football at this point.
Yeah, I would say so, especially this year and in a few years past. But as far as the Ravens go, I mean, I think they just kind of know who they are and who they're not.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to surprise anyone by, not running the ball. Whenever they have, like, the running backs that they do,
Mark Ingram's been a big pickup for these guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're going to ground and pound. He's going to get them, Mark Ingram's going to get them those third downs that they need, especially 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and then you have Lamar Jackson, which you have no idea what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you got guys that are, coverage, I mean, he's the fastest guy on the field other than probably a few cornerbacks. It's going to have to chase him down from behind. So, they're doing well. And if we're talking about the Bengals, I mean, A.J. Green, poor guy. I mean,
stuck in just sorrow and tragedy for that guy.
Exactly.
He's often injured. He misses a couple games every year, but whenever he's active, he is one of the playmakers on that team.
Yeah, for sure.
I think any quarterback would be lucky to have A.J. Green, and Andy Dalton was blessed with him and has done nothing with the guy.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's time for the Bengals to consider trading A.J. Green.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, you could at least get a first or second round pick for that guy.
Absolutely.
He's still young enough, but I think they should trade him.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and you hate to see a talent like that,
What a waste.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of sitting there and not doing much. So,
a team that has a lot of talent, the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just running over people.
Yeah.
Defense, running the ball, smash mouth. Kyle Shanahan is running this team like his dad did for the Broncos back in the day.
Yep.
No matter the running back, they're getting 100 yards and a touchdown. They went in and beat the Rams handedly. I think Jared Goff had his worst game of the year.
Yep.
If I'm not,
he had like 78 passing yards. Is that right?
78 passing yards, and the first time this year he had 0 touchdowns in a game.
0.
Yeah, big goose egg on that one. They didn't have Todd Gurley, but I don't think that's that big of a deal this year. Todd Gurley isn't what he used to be.
Yeah.
He's not the same guy. It's plain as day to see it. It doesn't take an expert, to see he's not running the ball and he's not as electric as he was.
Yeah, I mean, after a few knee injuries, especially ACL, it's kind of hard to be as explosive as you once were. You almost lose a step, unless you're Adrian Peterson. But at the same time, you need to find another running back in order for this team to be successful again and just continue to protect your quarterback like we were talking about earlier. I mean, if you protect Jared Goff, I mean he's going to sling it. He's your gunslinger, and I mean he's a smart guy. He's going to especially. With McVay being the one that's just calling the plays and different things like that.
McVay.
Yeah.
I think this offense, I wouldn't. The sky isn't falling in LA yet. I still think they can turn things around, but it's just a matter of when they do it. They don't want to wait too long with the Seahawks and the 49ers both in front of them in the division. A team that has fallen off completely. The Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
One win this entire year. They lose to the Cardinals. Kyler Murray lit them up. Matt Ryan didn't have a bad game. 350 yards passing, four touchdowns. The first quarterback ever to lose in the regular season with that stat line when he had 0 interceptions.
Gotta hurt your feelings.
What do you make of this Falcons team? It seems like they have all the weapons, and Julio Jones, a second-year guy, and Calvin Ridley. Devontae Freeman isn't a bum at running back. Matt Ryan's a former MVP. What is wrong? Is it the coaching?
I think so. Whenever you're not, making good calls on defense, you're not going to win. I mean, you have to have a solid defense in this league. Yeah. I mean, especially whenever you have the stats that Matt Ryan had. I mean, it's not like they made bad calls for the offense. I mean, 100%. It was just, I think it was bad play management by the defense, maybe the defense coordinator, and just not getting to their assignments on time.
Well, not only that, but Dan Quinn, the head coach, he came over from Seattle. He's supposed to be a defensive guy. Yeah. I don't care if he took you to a Super Bowl a few years ago. He lost that Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure.
He is a defensive coach. He's not boosting this defense up to match the offense. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could say if they had a good defense, this team would have a couple more wins under their belt. I think you'd have said before the show, can't win with Quinn. Mm-hmm. Atlanta, if you want to make some shirts off that, send us the royalties. We'll accept every dollar. In my opinion, the upset of the season, the upset of the week, the Jets go into Jerry World and beat the Cowboys.
Are you worried about the Cowboys?
I'm not. I'm not worried about the Cowboys, and I'll tell you why. They had injuries. Left tackle Tyron Smith, an All-Pro. The right tackle, La'el Collins. Pro Football Focus has him ranked the number 1 right tackle of the season. You lose Amari Cooper after the first play of the game. Randall Cobb got injured before the game. He had no weapons. He had nobody to protect him. It was all on Zeke. Zeke pulled off 100 yards.
He got Witten.
But I think what this game does is it proves Jerry Jones right. We're not going to pay you $40 million a year. Mm-hmm. Those guys that Russell Wilson types, they win without those weapons. Right. Dak, I don't think he can do it without Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the Cowboys can turn this all around, or is this a continued thing? Now, 3 games in a row that they've lost, and they play the Eagles next week.
All right. Like, as far as next week goes, I think the Eagles are going to dominate, but I would be worried about the Dallas Cowboys, man. You got Dak, which he's a heck of a talent, but at the same time, when you don't have the weapons to throw to other than Jason Witten, and then, Randall Cobb. Gallup. Yeah, I mean, Randall Cobb may or may not come back, and then Amari Cooper is still a toss-up. And then whenever you have all of your guys just kind of going down, I mean, obviously they're not, taking advantage of the pre-treatment and different things like that they have available for the NFL. So, I mean, you just got to play better and you got to play smarter. You got to take care of your body, especially in this league, and whenever it's a very physical league, and you just have to. I think Jason Garrett. I mean, he's always skated on thin ice. In my opinion, he's been there longer than he should. I mean, I thought he should have been fired 3 years ago.
He's the longest tenured head coach since Jerry Jones is on the team.
Yeah, so in my opinion, he should be gone.
A lot of these Cowboy fans, we're starting to hear you to fire Jason Garrett. I mean, but realistically, who do you bring in? Unless it's a Lincoln Riley type from Oklahoma, which has been rumored. You're not going to draw Sean Payton away from New Orleans, no matter how much you want him, Cowboys fans. That's not happening. I think you stick it out with this year. If he doesn't make it to the NFC Championship game, I think you should fire him.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll let him go mid-season. But at the same time, crazier things have happened. I mean, might as well just go ahead and get Bobby Petrino over there and help everybody out.
So we'll get a little ahead of ourselves. The Eagles, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Let's place a little friendly wager. Okay. You got the Eagles next week.
All right.
I got the Cowboys.
Yep. Absolutely.
The loser has to take a shot of sriracha hot sauce.
A big shot or a
No,
shot?
let's go big shot. This
Double?
is a big game.
Okay, double.
Big shot. You agree to that?
Yeah.
All right.
You're on.
Let's do it. All right. I mean, it's going to be entertaining for you guys.
Yeah.
A non-entertaining game, I guess you could say, was the Titans and Broncos.
Right.
Neither one of these teams are just, anything special. The Titans don't know who their quarterback is. They pulled Marcus Mariota, put in Ryan Tannehill. Do you think that Mariota, same type of thing as Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay, do you think he'll be in Tennessee next year?
That it's kind of hard to say, but at the same time, whenever you're getting pulled and getting your backup put in for you,
and not a very good backup.
Yeah, exactly. It's Tannehill. I mean, I doubt that he's rostered in a whole lot of leagues, so I bet that was a surprise to most people. But I mean, it just seems like the Titans have always kind of had that, that we don't know who our quarterback yet is. Even though Vince Young was a Pro Bowler at one time, that they've never really.
Man, he went off the rails fast.
He did. But that's the last quarterback I can name. Let's go.
I'm not sure.
That's the last quarterback that I can name off the top of my head that played for the Titans.
Yeah.
So I don't think Mariota will be back.
I don't think he'll be back either.
There are other teams that that he could do well at, and if I were him, I might explore those options.
Yeah, the Broncos, they pulled out a win. They're second in a row. Seems like they've figured it out. Hand the ball to Phillip Lindsay.
Yep.
Watch the guy go. Last year, an undrafted rookie coming out of Colorado, hometown guy, made the Pro Bowl. I think they, kind of like we said earlier, with the Ravens, they know who they are and they know who they aren't.
Yep.
Run the ball, play good defense, get wins.
You got to play to your strengths.
Yeah. Somebody that didn't play to the strengths was the Chargers. They laid a big old goose egg on national television.
Yeah.
They lost to the third-string quarterback, Devin Hodges, who is known more for his duck calling than his football play.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the Chargers? I mean, everybody was high on them coming into this year.
Other than me losing $50 on them.
I told you not to do that.
Yeah, I know. But, man, they've kind of got away from what they were started off doing. I mean, like, Melvin Gordon's back, but at the same time, is he really helping? I mean, are we losing faith in our Chargers running backs? I think that they should kind of go back to what they were doing with Austin Eckler in the backfield, maybe get Melvin Gordon, on first or maybe second down, but give it back to Eck, man. Like, he was doing really well for this team.
He was, but you can't look at the two guys and justify that Melvin Gordon isn't as talented as Austin Eckler. I mean, it's plain as day. Melvin Gordon's done it for a couple of years now.
Right, but when he's
Austin
not in game
Eckler,
shape, it's hard.
Now, that is the thing. He wasn't in game shape. I think they forced in the ball. They should have kind of eased him back into the game. But I think from here on out, you give it to Melvin Gordon. Let him do what he does. Hunter Henry returned, had a huge game, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. But it seems like just something's not right with this Chargers teams. I don't know if it's on the offensive side or the defensive side. But, we'll find out soon, I guess. As more division games are coming up, these guys are going to have to buckle down.
Yeah.
So
the LA teams definitely struggled this week. So
they did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was your weekly review with TRF Football. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at TRF Football. We'll see you guys tomorrow with a preview of the Week 7 NFL season. I'm Matt. He's Kasey. Signing off.
Peace.